Hi, this is Kelly once again, and I would like to share with you what Transform and Rise is and what I do. So, Transform and Rise began when I learned how to do QHHT, or Dolores Cannon's Quantum Healing Hypnosis technique. I opened an office, I offered the sessions, and I did that for 3 years. Throughout those 3 years, I found different modalities I began to work with, such as angel healing, Akashic Record readings, and channeling. The channeling was very interesting. I learned that I could channel an entity called Matu. Matu sounded like an Indian man from India. And he told me that we had a life agreement in a previous lifetime, not an earth incarnation, that we were to work together in this lifetime to help guide others to find their highest potential, their truest selves. I channeled him for a few months and then he kind of faded away. And the next thing I knew, I was channeling the mantid beings. The mantids are an upper level society of the mantis beings. They are the more intelligent group and they're higher dimensional. They're from the ninth dimension. We are in the third dimension on Earth, just to kind of give you some perspective. We are gradually shifting to the fifth dimension, which is why you'll have all this chaotic energy and all, the government insanity going on, because the earth is shifting its energy right now. But if you want to learn about that, that's something that you can look up and study on your own. I'm not here to teach that at this point. But Transform and Rise became something I wanted to incorporate all of these things that I do. I do offer hypnosis in person or online. I offer intuitive channeling readings. I do Akashic Record readings. The Akashic Records are your soul records. So everybody has an Akashic Record, and it is basically a history of all of the lives that your soul has lived since its existence. And it does not only include Earth lives, it includes lives on other planets, other galaxies, whatever. One of the things that people struggle to comprehend is that the earth is like a grain of sand on the beach as opposed to the size of the universe. So this is a very small fraction of existence. There are millions of other existences going on at the same time, but we seem to think we're the only ones out there. And that's just an ignorance and an arrogance that we have to get over, because it's not true. So I educate people on existence and how your soul chose to live this life so that it could learn lessons to grow, because all souls have a purpose. And as you learn and grow, your soul expands. So you may have had a life as a rock. And yes, human souls can be inanimate objects or plants or animals. I have been all of them. It is possible for your soul to have done these different things. Some people don't believe that. That's their choice. I'm not here to argue. So your soul will come here and have different existences where it will have different lessons. Why would you live life as a rock, you ask? Well, because maybe you had a couple of traumatizing lives earlier and you needed to just come back here on Earth and be in this environment and just chill. It doesn't sound conventional, but it is a way that your soul was able to spend time here on Earth, which is where the souls come to learn. Earth is a school. You've heard this said by numerous different sources, and everybody looks at it in a different way. But my belief and what I have learned is that your soul chooses this life. You choose the lessons you're going to encounter. You choose the participants in your life, your parents, your friends, your family, and you have this experience that helps your soul expand and grow. You choose when you're going to die. Your life is usually written with about 5 exit points in it, where at any point in time during that lifetime, the soul could say, okay, I'm done. I can't finish out this life. I need to go, and you'll die. So the whole point of living this life is to evolve. Your early lives may be in survival mode, always drinking, smoking, partying, not have any money, believe that life is a big struggle, that, you're meant to be poor, you're meant to work hard. And those are limiting beliefs that you hopefully will outgrow as your soul expands. I actually went through that. I came here with a spiritual background, but it wasn't quite developed, because when you are born, you forget everything you know from your previous lives, and you're supposed to spend your life trying to remember all of that stuff. So as my memory began to come back in my 40s and 50s, I was able to connect with my intuition much more easily. I was able to see synchronicities. I underwent some physical changes in my body. I had ringing in the ears for years, still have it, but it tones, which means that I'm receiving information. I do not have the ability to translate it as it's coming in. I simply know that it's coming in, and I will get different signals that will kind of tell me stop talking about that or talk more about that, just different stuff like that. So I use all of my experiences, and I have been hypnotized many, many times, learned a lot about myself through hypnosis, past life regression. I have had so many different healing modalities that I've worked through. I have done ancestral healing, so I've been able to see why my family struggled and allow that healing to happen energetically. I know how to do dowsing. I work with dowsing a lot to help clear energy. I work with Reiki. I work with different things that have been put in front of me. And if they resonated, I worked with them. If they didn't resonate with me, I sat them aside until I was ready for them. And that's how it should be. Lessons will come to you if you're not ready. Kind of set them aside. And then maybe next year, when you've learned a couple more lessons and you're ready for the information, it will repeat, or it will come back around so that you can pick it up and start working with it. That's how Transform and Rise was founded. I just started getting these lessons. I started with the whole Wayne Dyer thing, and I just couldn't stop listening to him. I listened to Esther Hicks' channel Abraham, which at first I couldn't stand the message, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get enough of it. So it's all when you're ready, the information will flow. You will find books, you will find teachers, you will meet people, you will talk to people, you'll find websites. It happens in just so many different ways. One day I was walking down the street in Key West, and there was a book in the middle of the road about angels. And then I started working with angel healing and the archangels to help me in my hypnosis sessions. So it just never ends. When you recognize these synchronicities and you act on them, like I picked up the angel book and I kept it. I tried to get rid of it, but I wasn't allowed to. Nobody wanted it because I wasn't done with it yet. So those are the ways that you can pay attention and understand things. I learned about body detoxification, and I went from a very rigid stance against I will never stop eating meat to now I can't even think about eating meat because it just doesn't resonate with me anymore. So just different lessons I have learned. I want to use them to help people understand how they can incorporate relevant lessons for them into their own lives, release limiting beliefs, eliminate their understanding of where they are, shift their existence into a more positive and high vibrational life, and then elevate their whole existence so that they can live in a high vibrational state. That's the RISE framework. People have to understand that you have to meditate to connect, detoxify the body. You have to be open-minded, and you have to be willing to learn and to accept things that may seem unconventional to you without fear. You have to trust. And I walked this whole pathway step by step. I didn't learn all this at once. I learned it in little bites and breadcrumbs that I picked up along the way. So as I have learned this stuff, it has been piled on top of other stuff, which has allowed me to absorb it and allowed me to understand it and put it into play for myself. So I built a step-by-step system for people to understand this is something you should work on, do the best you can. I don't expect you to be a perfect student because we are here to be humans and enjoy the experience as well. But incorporating some of these life-improving lessons will help you expand your consciousness, which is the ultimate goal. So please visit transformandrise.com. I want this to be a movement that helps people find their true and highest self. That is my ultimate goal. Thanks for listening.